institutions are important for the society, the government that they are part of. So UKU is an institution within the higher education institution of Ukraine. I'm familiar with, and Irena is familiar with, the institution of U.S. foreign policy, how U.S. foreign policy is devised, is discussed, is decided on, and indeed implemented in Embassy Kyiv and embassies around the world. Last summer, and Irena mentioned this, there was a challenge to that foreign policy, that U.S. foreign policy institution. Because the regular channel, the normal channel that Irena and I and the embassy today, all the embassies participate in, that's the regular channel. That's a part of the institution that creates U.S. foreign policy and that executes U.S. foreign policy. And that foreign policy is made by, yes, embassies feeding into the State Department where Irena now works, into assistant secretaries and deputy secretaries and secretaries of state. And there's also, of course, the United States Agency of International Development and Defense Department and the Treasury, all of these, including the Congress, including organizations like this, like Friends of UKU, and like other foreign policy institutions, editorial boards across the country. This is a part of the institution that works to create U.S. foreign policy. And that was challenged last summer, a year ago last summer. It was challenged by an irregular channel. There was another channel that was outside of that institution that challenged the thrust and the trust and the integrity of the institution that creates U.S. foreign policy. And that, that challenge was not from within, it was from without. It was outside. There was a channel outside of the normal channel. And yes, we had to deal with that. But the institution was strong enough to overcome that. And it got back on track. We can't, here we are the day after results of the US elections took place without talking about another institution in the United States, which is the institution of democracy, in particular of elections. A lot of predictions going into these elections. There's going to be trouble, going to be problems. We're in a pandemic. We're polarized. People were worried there was going to be problems at the polls, maybe even violence. Well, it didn't happen. The elections went off very well. The elections, the people who worked at the polls were professional, and the counters were professional, and the people who managed all of this were professional, and it worked. And it worked fine. And we'll meet these challenges. These institutions are strong. UKU is strong. Higher education in Ukraine is strong. U.S. foreign policy institutions are strong. U.S. democracy, democratic institutions are strong. So we'll continue. We've got challenges, not just from outside of these institutions, but challenges within, legitimate concerns, differences of opinion. That's what institutions deal with. And we can do that well.